This has been an extremely challenging year for the garden, probably the most challenging one I've ever had. It's been one of the hottest summers in a really, really long time, and up until recently we were getting like no rain. We've finally been getting some rain. You can see the cantaloupes are finally getting some size. But if you watched my video where I talked about the feather loss issues on chickens, I included in there the hailstorm that we got, and it was a pretty bad hailstorm, so we got a lot of damage, lost a lot of plants. Check that video out if you want to see some of that. But yes, I'm very happy because some of the squash and zucchini and cucumbers that I had to keep replanting so many times, I lost count of how many times it was, are finally starting to take off. So that gives me a little bit of hope, and that's just good proof to show that you shouldn't give up, because even though it was late in the season, I was like, I'm still going to keep trying. And it looks like they're working. And I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it was the really mild winter that we had or the really, really hot, dry summer or what's going on, but the bugs have been worse than ever this year. And you can see the deer have been wiping out my corn. The pumpkins are way behind, but hey, what can you do about it? This is real life and things don't always go according to plan. So today I thought we would do something a little bit different. We're gonna do a video where I show you some different, very basic, very easy to make garden recipes, because if you have a large garden, that's a lot of maintenance, especially if you work full-time and have side gigs on top of it like I do. So I want to show you some recipes that are just going to be simple and easy and fun to make, that will work out perfectly for people that have really busy schedules like me. So my mom happens to be a really, really, really good cook, and I'm not just saying that because she's my mom. So we're actually going to have her on the channel today, and she's going to share some of her tips and recipes with us. So let's get to the kitchen, and I'll show you some different ways to prepare your garden food. Oh, and fun fact, zinnias are edible. I've never tried one. I've heard they're kind of bitter. I heard they don't taste that good. But I was thinking of maybe making a cake before summer ends and making it like, you know, garden themed and decorating it with some of the zinnias. So stay tuned for that. I think it'll turn out really cool with all the different flowers that I have. But that's for another day. I can hear the babies chirping. My cactus bloom is getting bigger. My mom is famous for her sourdough bread, so Mom, tell us a little bit about what you're working on right now.
Well, I'm mixing up 5 more loaves for bundles tomorrow. I made 5 yesterday, and they're shaped and in the fridge. But this is the first step where you take bread flour, your starter, salt, and water, mix it together, and then you let it sit for about an hour. And the purpose of that is it helps the flour totally absorb all the moisture that you've put in. So now I'm going to cover them and let them sit for an hour, and then I'll start stretching folds, which you'll do every 30 minutes times 4.
And tell us, how do you take care of a starter?
Well, I keep my starter in the refrigerator, and I don't keep it on the countertop. That's just too much work. So what I do is, and excuse my messy jar, but that's just how starter looks. You feed it when you want. You pull it out of the fridge when you want to use it. Feed it. I usually feed it 1 to 2 cups of flour to 1 to 2 cups of water. Mix it into the existing starter that's in the jar, and then you let it sit on your countertop until it doubles in size and it's nice and bubbly. In our house, and it depends on the temperature of your house. In our house, it's normally about 3 or 4 hours.
And you might be thinking, sourdough, that's not from the garden. Well, that's actually going to go along with one of the garden recipes we're making later today, so you'll get to see that later. Everything homemade is just better. And if you're new to this channel, I guess you don't know this yet, but my mom and I actually sell our produce and our bread and other baked goods. So now I'm going to pick some of these green beans, and I'll show you a really easy way to make green beans, which is actually my all-time favorite way to prepare them. And then towards the end of this video, I'm going to toss in a really fun and simple succulent craft that you can make for your garden area. Because as you can probably tell, we also do a lot of like flower and hen and chick gardens around here too. So it's nice to make it look really pretty, add a little bit of art to it. And succulent crafts are always fun. In the next week or two, I'll actually be replanting my beans so I can have a fall crop of them too. I love how pretty the little blossoms on the bean plants are. Oh good, I still have some dragon's tongue beans left. I also grow purple beans, but between the heat and the hailstorm and all of the wildlife, I don't have any of those left until I replant the fall crop. And then this green variety that I grow is called Provider. It's a bush bean, and it's my all-time favorite. It's very, very prolific. These bush plants make so many beans. And I always pride myself on how I'm able to get my leafy greens to go long for most of the summer, because leafy greens, for the most part, they do not like the heat. And this summer has been so hot. So I'm proud of myself that up until about now, they did pretty well. I got a lot of greens off of these, but you can see that they've bolted and they've gone to seed. So I'm gonna rip these out and feed them to the chickens. And then I'm gonna prepare the soil in here, add some more fertilizer to it, add some more blood meal, add some more compost, and I'll replant a fall crop. Your DoorDash is here. You get in there, sister. Oh, and I have really exciting news. Fennel here, my Easter egger that I got this spring, she laid her first egg. So I'll show you that real quick. It's really teeny tiny because, you know, she's young. When chickens lay their first few eggs, they're usually on the smaller size, but then they go back to normal as they mature. But yeah, it's a really pretty shade of green. The camera does not do it justice. Now back to the kitchen. So Mom wanted to add another fact about her sourdough.
So when I was showing you this right here, when I told you you mix it and let it sit for an hour so the flour can fully absorb the water and the starter that's in there, it's actually called auto-lyse or auto-lyse. I've heard it pronounced two different ways. And that serves, like I said, to help the flour fully absorb the liquids. It helps the gluten structure to develop, and it also helps the flavor, the sourdough flavor develop. So that's just why you do that step. So right now I'm just cutting up an old sourdough, well, not old, I baked it yesterday, a sourdough loaf that we're going to have BLTs for our lunch for. Sourdough traditionally is a little bit hard to cut, but it's worth it. One of the reasons I like sourdough, besides I think it tastes fabulous, is they say, and I happen to agree, that it's easier to digest. It's got a lower glycemic index, so it doesn't spike your blood sugar as much. But like I said, the main thing for me is it just tastes so good.
So yeah, like she said, we're going to have BLTs, and these tomatoes are the heirloom tomatoes from the garden. And you can see they don't look the prettiest, but this is just showing you guys an example of real life, because like I was talking about earlier, we had a hailstorm recently and then it finally rained. So the plants, since they were so thirsty, they took up the water really fast, and it caused the tomatoes to split because they had so much moisture in them. Heirloom tomatoes are more prone to cracking and splitting than hybrid tomatoes, but the hybrid tomatoes don't taste quite as sweet as the heirlooms do, so sometimes it's worth putting up with the heirlooms and the splitting for the sake of the good flavor. Oh, and in case you're wondering, these yellow ones are called lemon boys, and this one, I think this was an early girl.
So I have this nifty bacon cooker for the microwave, and I love it because it actually does a great job with your bacon. And it doesn't splatter grease all over your stove. You just put it in. I usually do, for 5 slices, 5.5 minutes in the microwave.
Where'd you get this nifty contraption?
Gosh, I've had it for so long, I don't know, but I'm going to go with Amazon. I'm going to save this bacon. Chelsea wants me to be funny, because I said, I'm going to save this here bacon grease to go with our dinner tonight, because we're having this nifty thing called Halusky. I think that's how you pronounce it, but it's a cabbage and egg noodle combination.
And here's the cabbage that I just picked. Yes, I grew it myself. I'm not going to be filming the Halusky video, though. But if you want to see more about that, make sure you like this, because my mom's a little bit shy, but she says if this video gets 100 likes, which I think is very doable, she will start her own cooking channel, and trust me, you really want her to. Because then she can showcase all of her really good recipes on there.
Also, this handy dandy bacon cooker for the microwave makes wonderful bacon, but it's also dishwasher proof. I guess that's how you want to say it. It can go in the dishwasher. I'm just going to put this in here and save it for the cabbage recipe I'm going to make tonight.
If you do want the recipe for the Halusky, since I'm not going to film that, I'll put the link to that recipe in the description. Look at that skill. So all the parts that we aren't going to use, I'll give to the chicken so it doesn't go to waste. We're also going to add avocado to this. And we live in Maryland. Avocados don't really grow around here, so that's one thing we're going to have to cheat on, and that did not come from the garden.
Oh, I'm certainly not an expert. In fact, I cut my finger kind of bad about 2 months ago doing this, but I just slice it all the way around, give it a twist. This happens to be a perfect looking one. This is how I hurt myself, because the knife slipped and it went through the thing. I just put that in it and wiggle it till it comes out.
You can also add a fried egg or scrambled egg to your BLT sandwich, but they're all in the process of laying right now, so we're not going to disturb them. But look at this pretty pink one from the other nesting box. This camera does not pick it up. Like, this thing is pink.
Okay, so we're going to have some lemon pepper green beans to go with our lunch because Chelsea picked just a small amount just for the two of us. So I've already washed the beans and I've snapped off the ends. So what I'm going to do is just put them on the stove and, I don't know what you would call them, not boil, maybe blanch them until they're like tender crisp. And then I'll take them off the heat and add some butter, some fresh lemon juice, and some lemon pepper, and they're delicious, just simple. It usually takes 10 minutes. While the beans boil, I'm going to slice my lemon because I'm going to put the lemon juice on it. This is an old lemon. It's been in the fridge for a while, but it's still good. Still perfect inside.
And you can see she added salt and pepper to the avocado and the tomatoes.
Oh, we don't have any L.
Oh yeah! Let me go pick some lettuce. Rookie mistake, how could I forget the lettuce? So now the tricky thing is I need to go see if there's any that didn't bolt. Okay, thank God some of this red romaine still looks pretty good. If I wouldn't have been able to find some good lettuce, I would have just substituted it with the beet greens. Beet greens are very, very nutritious. But luckily this worked out. Alright, come on Eva, let's go back in. I'll wash this off with some water and vinegar, and then we'll go on to the next step. We prefer our sourdough toasted.
So now that the beans are boiling, we'll just let them do their thing on the stove for about 5 minutes, and we'll see at that point if they're tender enough. Right now I'm just putting mayo on our sourdough for our BLTs, and my favorite is Duke's mayonnaise. But use whatever you like. This is just the one we prefer. And you can see we prefer a lot of it. So now we can just assemble our sandwiches. And Chelsea just ran out and picked this lettuce. So I think we'll do maybe, I guess, 3 of each one.
And I've heard that the really dark, like purpley vegetables are higher in antioxidants.
Okay, so bacon. I gotta set aside some for tonight's recipe.
Yeah, add as much bacon as you like. There's no right or wrong way to do that.
Nope. And we're gonna put on different colored tomatoes.
This would also be good if you added arugula to it, because I like that peppery taste.
And we can just eat these on the side, because I don't want to put too much.
Oh, the extra tomatoes?
Yeah. And then we'll just put on our avocado. And it will be a messy sandwich for sure, but it'll be delicious. And then we'll cut them in half in a few minutes. Here goes nothing.
Looks delicious.
So this is what your sourdough looks like after it's been sitting for about an hour during the auto lease. And I'm going to go ahead and start my first stretch and fold. It's been about an hour. And this is about the consistency that will be. So you just lift it and fold it over and turn your bowl. Lift it, fold it over. Lift it, fold it over. And just repeat this. Now for the first stretch and fold, I do it many times until I start to feel it forming into a tight ball and it doesn't want to be stretched and folded. And then you just cover it up and let it sit for 30 minutes and you come back and do it 3 more times. Alright, so I'm going to turn the heat off. At this point they're tender but not too soft. They have a little bit of crisp to them. So I'm going to take this excess water and just kind of drain it. Drained off the water into the sink, and there's a little teeny bit in here, and I'm just going to let the steam and the heat from the stove help that evaporate. And I'm going to get some butter now. Just put in 1 tablespoon. Okay. Just let that melt. Now I'm just going to squeeze some fresh lemon juice. I'm squeezing it upside down like this in case there's seeds. It helps keep the seeds in the lemon.
I never would have thought of that.
Yeah. And we like ours really lemony, so we're going to use both halves. And guess what? I don't even see any seeds in here. Oh! Got myself. I just use Great Value brand. And, oh, let me give it a little shake. It's stuck in the bottom. And we'll just sprinkle some of that on. And we're good to go. It's delicious lunch. All ready to go.
Lunch was absolutely delicious, so that was just a really simple way to enjoy some of your garden food. Now really quickly I'm going to toss in some quick footage of some other ways that you can prepare some garden food. I filmed this a few weeks ago and I just didn't have a video that it worked into adding it to, so I'll add it here since this goes along with it perfectly, and then I'll show you some fun plant crafts. Today we're in my mom's kitchen and she's teaching us how to pickle banana peppers.
So this is just a mixture of apple cider vinegar, white vinegar, sugar, mustard seed and celery seed. And then you bring it to a boil and then you just pour it over the sliced banana peppers in the jar. And then you just stick it in the fridge and you let it sit for at least a week to get fully pickled. And then you can use it in salads, or I like it on pizza, but however you like to use it.
And then real quick, tell us about your famous peach cake too.
Cake is, you can just take your favorite yellow or white cake. It can be a box or homemade. Use the dry ingredients, but you add in some corn oil and some peach juice, and then a pound of sliced peaches, and then you bake it. And once it's cooled, you make a brown sugar frosting, which is melted butter, heavy cream, brown sugar. You bring that to a boil, add some vanilla, and then you put in sifted, you make sure it's sifted, powdered sugar, and you whisk it till it's smooth, and then you pour it over the cake and let it sit.
I'm going to put the link to that full recipe in the description below, so if you are interested in making that, check out that link. And I keep encouraging my mom to make her own cooking YouTube channel because she's a really, really good cook. So if you would like to see more of that, or even if she doesn't make her own channel and you want to see me share some of her recipes with some of our different garden foods, make sure you give us a like, because I will show that to her and it might help motivate her and encourage her. And as for those banana peppers that she's pickling, yes, I did grow them myself. I have a whole video about how to grow peppers, so make sure you check that out if you're interested in learning how to grow your own.
Uh-oh. I need to make more. It wasn't enough.
How long does this have to sit?
At least a week. Watch out, monkey.
So here's one of my latest creations. I just took a string of pearls, which is this type of succulent, and I added it into this can of peas after it was emptied, so it looks really cute. It was incredibly simple to do. And now I'm going to show you a craft that you can do with succulents and an old birdhouse. Now real quick, we're going to check in with some plants, and I'm going to show you a really cute and simple planter that you can make for outdoors, because who doesn't love plants? And it's going to be a nice low maintenance one. And unrelated but exciting news, My cactus is about to bloom. Right there is where the bloom's going to be. I'm really excited to see what it looks like and what it smells like. So for this project, we're going to get some hens and chicks. Some people call them cats and kittens, but from my neck of the woods, they're hens and chicks. They're a type of succulent. They are a hardy perennial and they spread, so they make a really good ground cover. Like most succulents, they like it with well-draining soil and some bright and direct sunlight. And then we had this birdhouse in the tree last year, and as you can see, it fell down a while ago, and it's pretty gross. So we're gonna clean it out. You can see there's an old nest in there, but nothing in it. I'm gonna clean it out, and then we're gonna fill it with soil, and then I'm gonna plant the hens and chicks coming out of it, and it'll look really nice because, like I said, they spread. So over time, they'll trickle right on out, and then they'll surround it, and it'll look really pretty. Oh, and also, speaking of succulents and plants, I was just potting some succulents for some clients of mine. I think they turned out pretty cute. And during the process, some of their leaves fell off. So fun fact, if you're new to succulents, you might want to know this. If a leaf falls off, it doesn't have to go to waste. If you put it in the soil and mist it and keep the soil moist, eventually over time it'll start to sprout roots and then a little baby plant will form off of it. So that's a great way to propagate your succulents and have more of them and not let them go to waste if you lose some leaves. If you wanted to clean this off and turn this into an indoor planter, you could totally do that, and you could put some fairy lights around it. That would look really cool too. If you do that though, I would recommend getting a grow light over it. Plants will do the best with a grow light, but I'm going to keep this one outdoors. Now we just fill it up with some soil. Okay, so I just really gently broke some of these off because that whole big chunk's not going to fit in here. Ooh. Needs more soil. Okay, so you can see I just pulled off some really gently and stuck them in the opening, and of course they'll grow, and like I said, they'll eventually produce some offsets of their own, and it'll trickle down and spread. Each year it'll spread more and more. And then I pulled off one of the little chicks. Trying to brush the dirt away here. And I'm just going to stick that right here. You can see it has some roots already established. If that doesn't stay, I'll get one that's slightly bigger. Oh no, it looks like it's going to be fine. Very cute. So I just wanted to share that with you. I thought it was fun and it was a neat way to repurpose this old broken birdhouse. And in the future, as it fills out, we'll be sure to check back with it and see how it progresses. So if you remember from a few videos back, I said I was going to try to propagate my Pink Princess plant. Oh, and look how pretty this leaf is. Lots of pink. I had never done it before, so I said I was going to put it in the water and see if it forms roots. Well, it took a couple months, way longer than I thought. But you can see it finally developed roots. So at this stage, it is safe to put it in soil. But it's been doing so well in the water, I've just left it here. But now that I know it's a success, I'm going to go ahead and propagate some more. Because now that I have some crest gecko eggs incubating, and I mean, trust me, it will be a while before I have any available for sale on Morph Market, and I still need to make my website and my page and all that for it. But I always like to plan ahead and be prepared, so since that is in the future for me now, I'm going to start propagating some more plants so I can sell those on there as well. So you can see how the main plant, it's getting pretty tall again, so I'm going to cut from the top so that way it doesn't get too tall for its container. And what I did last time was, where these little nodules are, I selected where there were at least 3 of those. So like right here would be a good one. Snip right at the base, nice and clean, and put it in water. And then like I said, it took quite a while, but eventually it took root. So I'm going to go ahead and get this propagated some more. So thanks for watching. Make sure you like this video because if we get enough likes, my mom will consider making her own channel. We do a lot of different things on my channel. We got chicken videos, care tips, we got garden videos, house plants, reptiles, geckos. I show my whippet. Once in a while, we even show a few travel videos from when we go on vacation. We got horse videos. And occasionally we do a little bit of cooking, but if you would like to see some more videos featuring different garden recipes and just cooking in general, make sure you like this video because I'm really trying to help my mom feel encouraged to start her own cooking channel because I think it would be really, really popular. She's a great cook.